earlier, but what do you think is behind this particular outing? It looked like he struggled with command a little bit in those past couple starts, but it just looked like the Washington offense got to him a little bit, 7 hits.
Yeah, he needs to learn how to be aggressive when he doesn't have his best fastball. That's something that he needs to really learn to grow and make the next step as he continues in professional baseball. When he has his best fastball in the mid-90s, he attacks. And when he doesn't, he seems to nibble a little bit and put himself in bad counts. So we've talked about that. When he doesn't have that, I wish we could turn off the scoreboard with the miles per hour so he doesn't know what his fastball is like. Because when he doesn't have that mid-90s fastball, he likes to nibble a little too much, and that gets him in trouble.
Do you think that was more something that reared its head today, or do you think that's been kind of a theme through his past 3 starts as well?
I think it was more today because it was his second outing. We were only going to go 65, 70 pitches with him anyway, so he knew that. I felt that once he got past the first inning, he would settle down a little bit. I thought he did a little better afterwards. But yeah, it was more this week based on the fact that he went twice during the week.
Of course, the first 2 games, incredible starts. What's your takeaway from your standpoint from this series in general moving forward and with a quick turnaround on Tuesday?
They're improving. They're doing a better job. I still like where our bullpen's at. I think our bullpen's doing a good job knowing the roles. It was my fault with Peary, the second guy. The first guy caught a 3-2 slider and an Arizona home run. And the second guy, I had a base open and a 2-0 count. I knew he was going to try to jump it, so we probably should have gone slider. So that's my fault. I think he's still throwing the ball really well.
With Brock, he seems to kind of take kind of the frustration to heart a little bit more than the pitchers when he comes in. What was your message to him after the game?
I haven't had a chance to talk to him, but Brock cares. He cares a lot. And, that's part of what makes him successful. So when I get a chance to talk to him, tell him it's my fault. It's completely my fault that, 2-0 count. I think we should have gone a slider. I think you saw what he did with the guy behind him. He got the next guy out. He's throwing the ball really well. He's kind of been our closer moving forward. So I think he's going to keep that role, and he's doing a good job.
The 3 guys, Chase, Christian, and Will, go for basically 5 scoreless innings today. How do you manage kind of keeping those guys in the right headspace? Because it seems like all 3 are kind of clicking right now and have been really for most of the season.
They're starting to know their roles. I think Bod, I told Bod won the last 2 games for me. I know it sounds funny, but he's always up and ready to go. And it's like, okay, Bod, get yourself to a point where you could come in the game, but don't burn yourself out. And he does that every day, and he knows his role. Literally, I was on the walkie when it was 2 outs, sometime in the middle of the innings yesterday, about to say sit down, and I saw him put the ball down, getting ready to sit down. So he knows his role. He does a great job. I think Will knows his role now, accepting it, kind of bridging it towards the end. And if Will's on, we'll let him finish the game. He's when that thing is moving, when the cutter's going, he could finish a game. Webby takes a little longer to recover, so I think rather than using them multiple times a weekend, we felt that it's better for him to use them for 2-3 innings once a week. So or once a weekend, I should say. So I think he knows that that's what we're going to do with him now. So, those guys are throwing the ball way better. The last 2 weeks, they've done a really good job.
When did the change kind of happen as far as the closing role is considered? Because at one point it was kind of Levine in that position, and then when was the turning point there between him and Peary?
I think it was when we had to go to Jerry early, and he was able to show us that he could give us length and come back. So I think that's very valuable. And, I always thought that Brock could put away guys. He had a really good fall. And then he just happened to fall in those roles when we started winning some games, and Jerry would give us some length. And I thought he did a good job. So we kind of kept them in that role, and they seemed to, be doing a better job and throwing the ball better that way. And they trust each other, man. They do a good job of that. I think those guys are really selfless, and they know that they don't care, going along with it. Yesterday I texted Jerry, when I got home, I said 4 huge outs. Okay, Bod got the save, but I thought Jerry won that game for us yesterday. I thought it was 4 huge outs. So, he understands that. They understand. They don't really care who gets the credit. They just want to win. And to, the point earlier, Brock takes those those losses really frustrating for him because he wants to win.
Is Tully still your kind of like go-to Friday starter, top of the depth chart right now?
I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep the rotation the same for next week with Luckham, Meyer, and Tully, and just give those guys 7 full days. 7 full days to recover, to get their workout in, to get their lift in, and then we'll figure out from there. But if, for me, I talked to Coach, if we do move anybody, I like to do it on the road because you are playing with less innings if it doesn't go your way, as far as bullpen goes. But I think next week we're just going to keep them Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
We didn't get a chance to talk with you after Meyer's performance yesterday. It's pretty spectacular, 76 pitches through 7 innings. And he had a good start before then, too, despite kind of struggling a little bit early on, up and down. What is behind that? What changes or improvements has he made in your eyes?
I think going back to the 7-day routine or a week routine for him was 6 days, but just being able to stay and keep your routine is big. I thought at the beginning of the year we were trying to figure out, who goes where. He was throwing an inning on a Saturday, coming back on a Tuesday. That's wearing on those guys. It's taxing. When they get a chance to have a week to prepare, and not just throwing wise, but lifting wise, that makes a big difference. So I thought giving him 7 days going up to Oregon State showed that he was really sharp. We pushed him up a day this weekend, and it was nice to see him compete when he didn't have his best stuff and go to his secondary pitches. So I was really impressed with what he did, and he'll have 7 days. All 3 guys will have 7 days leading up to a big series against Cal.
What about his command though? Because yesterday's start was his first with 0 walks.
Yeah.
Throughout. Mechanics, or is it just like?
No, here's the irony of it. I thought he had really poor fastball command yesterday. So he usually is a fastball command guy. We threw 16 fastballs and 76 pitches. And we threw a cutter that we taught him at the beginning of the fall. And when we were warming up, I could see the fastball. It wasn't coming out the same. And so we just went to the cutter. I think we threw like 23 cutters, and he had feel for that. So, that's the funny part about it. But, I think it had a little combination with them being overly aggressive as well. They kept chasing. And, to his credit, he kept battling. He kept throwing that cutter in for a strike and then going to the changeup. And I think out of 16 fastballs, I think 7 or 8 of them were fastballs off the plate up. So we literally did it backwards for him.